Coming to you from Beijing, this is China 24, our look at China and its impact around the world. I'm Su Yuting. First, the headlines. On the 105th anniversary of the founding of the Communist Party of China, we follow how the country has successfully implemented the whole process, people's democracy. China continues to roll out affordable childcare services aimed at reducing the cost of childbirth and raising children. And we look at how a railway on the Qinghai-Xizang plateau has transformed a small county in northern Xizang. This year marks the 105th anniversary of the Communist Party of China. And today we continue our special coverage, celebrating that milestone and the party's role in the country's advancement. Our focus is on China's whole process, people's democracy, and how it works across the nation. The enduring relevance of the 150-year-old Communist Party of China lies in its millions of devoted volunteers across the country who help bring in communities together. Lara Papan explores how one such volunteer is making a difference, building connections one neighbor at a time.
Today I'm here in Cgtn community in the heart of Beijing Central Business District. I'm here to experience a day in the life of a CPC member and a grassroots volunteer, Ms. Zhang Yunfang. Zhang Yunfang was born in 1950, just months after the People's Republic of China was founded. The former company office manager joined the Communist Party of China in 1988. Upon retiring in 2001, she stepped up her involvement with the neighborhood. Zhang Ayi, or Auntie Zhang, is a volunteer building leader in her community. To the dozens of households here, she's a reliable problem solver and a trusted friend. Zhang Ayi, 早上好。
你好，你好，你好，你好，你好，你好。
很高兴认识你。
哦，好，欢迎。
你怎么样？
啊，挺好的。来，你看看那边。
是他们做什么？
他们做八段锦，就是
八段锦。
哎，对，待会儿你和我们一起来做。
哦，
啊，好吧，哎，欢迎。
可以。大家好。
My day begins joining her and her neighbors for Baduanjin.
哎，这。
哦，好的。
An 800-year-old traditional Chinese exercise of gentle movements and deep breathing to promote the flow of qi and reduce stress. The workout is also a chance for them to catch up and stay connected.
Oh.
后边呢，咱还是坚持做啊。
Exercise is only the beginning of Zhang Ayi's daily routine.
谢谢你。
After the workout, she presents me with a volunteer vest.
谢谢啊。好，现在接下来是什么？
我们去议事厅要开一个会啊。好，好，走。
Here, Zhang Ayi and other Cgtn residents exchange updates and neighborhood news. The atmosphere feels more like a conversation.
我有一个问题。
Curious, I asked about the role this space plays in community governance.
有这么一个环境还是挺好的。比如今天咱们就
Spaces like this matter. They give residents a place to discuss community issues and resolve them quickly. That's why we have this discussion room.
这叫议事厅。今天呢，我们要议一下，最近咱楼发生的有一些事情。
Today's discussion focuses on recent developments in the community, including an update on resident Shang Jianhua, who was unable to attend after suffering a fall in the supermarket due to a steep incline a few days ago. Fortunately, medical examinations found no major injuries.
What strikes me most is how everyone looks out for one another. People aren't just talking about problems, they're discussing how to help.
因为刚才咱们那个讨论了很多。
After our discussion, I'll visit Shang Jianhua with community workers to check on her and update her on the resolution of her case.
I accompany Zhang Ai, the Cgtn Party Secretary Su Aimin, and the community worker to visit Miss Shang. Zhang Ai notices packages and utility bills untouched outside one apartment. These are warning signs. Concerned that a neighbor may need assistance, she records the information and reports it to the community authorities for follow-up. It's a small action that could make a big difference. Shang Zhenhua and her husband welcome us. For elderly residents, visits like these offer support and reinforce a sense of belonging.
Bye-bye.
After lunch and a brief rest, Zhang Ai heads to the community library to prepare articles and photos for the neighborhood's social media account. I ask her what keeps her motivated.
As a longtime party member, I believe retirement doesn't mean stepping away from responsibility. I should continue to lead by example and stay true to my original commitment. Although I'm no longer working, serving the community allows me to contribute and do my part for society.
小树，干嘛呢？
来，我们看看花。
来，我给你介绍介绍。这位是咱们一个国际友人。
My name is Lara. What is your name?
My name is Vova.
Nova. And what is your name?
My name is Tiger.
Tiger. Nice to meet you, Tiger and Nova.
The two boys, just out from classes, got a bit over-enthusiastic in the garden. For Zhang Ai, volunteering also means teaching the younger generation to care for their community.
看到小弟弟小妹妹，然后他们如果要是拔花。
If you see children touching or picking the flowers, gently remind them that we can look, but we shouldn't touch.
暑假的时候我要考核你们。
I can sum up my experience of this day with Zhang Yunfang this way. I see a party that cares. I see a party that works together to keep the community united and make sure no one is left behind.
Earlier, we interviewed Tamara Dusanova, the director of the Academy of Political Management of Kazakhstan and the country's former deputy prime minister, about the Chinese government's responsiveness to its citizens.
Moving from simply meeting numerical targets to truly being accountable to the people is a fundamental shift. This is also a key governance challenge for any country, including Kazakhstan. President Tokayev has repeatedly emphasized that officials should serve the people rather than serve statistical indicators. In China, the evaluation of officials' performance is likewise based on how their work improves people's, such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure development. Kazakhstan is also working to build a state that listens more closely to the voices of its people. In this regard, Kazakhstan's reforms are very similar to China's approach of responding to what the people call for. Public feedback serves as an effective mechanism for assessing the performance of government departments.
China's whole process, people's democracy, isn't just about voting. It's about participation at every step of governance. From grassroots deputies to national policy debates, this system is designed to put the people at the heart of the decision-making. Hona explains how it works.
Hello and welcome to Legal Talk. Democracy, it is a word often debated, rarely defined the same way twice. But here in China, there is a specific phrase you will hear repeatedly. Whole process, people's democracy. So what does that actually look like in real practice? Let's walk through it. The concept is straightforward but systematic. Democracy here isn't just about casting ballots, it's embedded in the entire policy life cycle. From drafting legislation to implementation oversight, public participation is institutionalized, not optional. Take lawmaking, for example. Before a bill reaches the National People's Congress, it often undergoes months of public consultation. The Civil Code, China's legal cornerstone, received over 900,000 public suggestions during its drafting. That's not symbolic, it's statutory. Every comment must be cataloged, analyzed, and many are incorporated. But here's an innovation: digital infrastructure. Legislative outreach stations now cover China's townships and urban districts. Mobile platforms allow real-time feedback on draft laws. What used to require physical presence now happens through smartphones, democratizing access without diluting substance. The whole process element is crucial. Once laws are approved, the democratic mechanism continues. People's Congress deputies conduct inspections, standing committees review implementation, and ordinary citizens can initiate supervision through designated channels. The loop stays open. This year's two sessions illustrate the point. Delegates here aren't just rubber-stamping pre-cooked policies. They amend, debate, and frequently reshape draft legislation based on constituent feedback gathered through systematic outreach. Whole process people's democracy, less about the theater of elections, more about the architecture of continuous participation. Whether that constitutes genuine democratic innovation or managed consultation depends on your metric. But the institutional investment is undeniable, and the process is increasingly codified.
In an interview with Cgtn, Tulia Ackson, the president of the Inter-Parliamentary Union and speaker of Tanzania's National Assembly, said China's National People's Congress has significantly contributed to the IPU. She also commented the successful implementation of China's whole process people's democracy.
When you're people-centered, I think some of the things can develop from the people themselves. So it doesn't have to be that democracy you have one size fits all. So in a way, what China has been able to achieve so far, we have seen that it has its own way of looking at democracy. It has its own way of approaching socialism. I mean, we are here, we have seen infrastructure development, we have seen how people have moved from one stage of development to the next. You would want that to every person of this world to have reached there. Now, because we are meeting here as part of the global South, because of the examples that China is offering. So, considering democracy, we don't have to have one form of democracy to be conformed by everybody. We have to look at the local circumstances and see how people are responding to those policies, and if those policies are able to offer good social services, if those policies are able to offer personal development, if these policies are able to offer development of a nation together, I think this is a model which people should learn from.
Coming up on China 24. China continues to roll out affordable childcare services aimed at reducing the cost of childbirth and raising children. And we look at how a railway on the Qinghai Xizang Plateau has transformed a small county in northern Xizang. Stay with us.
We are all connected. Across borders, across continents, connected by ideas, a shared humanity. Stay connected.
A vast land of 1.4 billion people. The world's second largest economy. Home to stories of the unexpected, the unimaginable, the breathtaking. Stories that touch the soul. Feel the speed, the passion. Enjoy spectacular natural and cultural landscapes. Feel the thrill of cutting-edge innovations. Discovering China, Global Biz, China Travel. We present a China never seen before, 24/7 at your fingertips.
You're watching China 24. Welcome back. Chinese state-owned enterprises have teamed up with local Chinese businesses to coordinate rescue efforts following devastating earthquakes in Venezuela. Industrial cranes are now being used to clear debris from the collapsed buildings and reach survivors trapped underneath. The Chinese embassy in Caracas reports that overseas Chinese associations and local Chinese community have donated roughly 500 tons of supplies, including water, milk, rice and meat products. So far, nearly 10,000 affected Venezuelan families have received assistance. The 3 taikonauts of Shenzhou 23 mission have been in orbit aboard China's space station for a new month now, conducting scientific experiments. And Zhu Yangzhu and Zhang Zhizhuan and Li Jiayin have been busy over the past week with studies. In space medicine, they have been operating ultrasonic diagnostic devices to assist each other in complementing the examinations of parts of the human body. The crew also interacted with a robot to conduct the tactile interaction tests. And in their studies on human adaptability in space, they have gathered data to support researchers' long-stay in-orbit health surveillance for taikonauts. The crew has also installed several experimental modules and units for experiments in microgravity physical science. China's National Health Commission has outlined the country's efforts to strengthen support across the entire childbirth and child-rearing process. At a press conference on Thursday, officials said relevant departments have worked to better integrate services for both mothers and children, providing support from pre-pregnancy care to childcare. And during the 14th five-year plan period, both prenatal screen and pre-pregnancy examination rates remained above 90%, while newborn disease screening coverage exceeded 99%. Nationwide, more than 3,500 critical maternal care centers and over 3,200 neonatal care centers have been established to safeguard maternal and infant health. China has also rolled out a nationwide childcare subsidy program of 3,600 yuan per year for each child under the age of 3, a policy expected to benefit more than 20 million families annually. China has also expanded affordable childcare services and other family-friendly measures aimed at reducing the cost of childbirth and child-rearing. In recent years, Chinese authorities have accelerated development of a childcare system for kids under the age of 3, aiming to make childcare services more accessible, affordable, and convenient for families. In Shenzhen, local authorities are building a 15-minute childcare service circle, allowing parents to access nearby childcare facilities within a short walk from home. And the city now provides over 100,000 childcare places and has more than 2,000 childcare institutions. Supported by government subsidies and public-private partnership models, childcare providers offer flexible services ranging from full-day and half-day care to hourly and weekend programs. Some similar initiatives are also being rolled out nationwide. By the end of 2025, China has established about 126,000 childcare institutions and more than 6.6 million childcare places, with many cities also promoting community-based childcare services. More Chinese parents are choosing professional daycare over grandparents for their youngest kids. Taoyuan shows us how one family in southwest China, Chengdu, reflects this change.
Li Ping and He Xiayang still remember those early days. 2 anxious parents taking turns in the lobby, eyes fixed on the surveillance screen. On the other side, their daughter Yo-Yo coos and flails. She was only 4.5 months old when she started attending daycare. At this daycare facility in Chengdu, nearly 100 children are enrolled. The youngest ones are just a few months old. The oldest ones are under 3. They mark the baby steps of a shift in how China is caring for its youngest generation. For a long time, grandparents were the default caregivers when mom and dad go to work.
我们是拒绝的，就我是想的，但是我们觉得就我们的父母应该去，就不要再把精力投到小孩身上了，对他们去过好自己的生活，去休闲呀，去旅游等等。
For Li Ping and He Xiayang, daycare isn't a last resort, it's a conscious choice. They believe the structure and support here has brought more stability for their daughter.
因为之前我在家里带她的时候，她会每天起得很晚，因为我也起得很晚，是吧？就是你在家里带，你就很希望她跟你一样的作息。但是来了这里之后，因为很早要把她送过来，然后来了之后她要玩儿，然后怎么样，她的作息一下子就早睡早起了。
觉得我们现在的家长也非常重视0到3岁早期教育的学习机会。我们也知道，0到3岁是我们宝宝大脑发育的关键期，也是性格养成的关键期。而优质的托育机构，它能够提供系统性的启蒙，能够更好地帮助宝宝去发展。
要回家是不是？
But families like Yo-Yo's are still rare. In developed countries, the enrollment rate for infant daycare can reach as high as 60%. In China, it's just 7%. Trust can be an issue.
是的，很难，特别是乳儿班。我们说宝宝小，那建立的信任感，我们说从家长的建立信任感，那是真的是我们说从一开始一点一滴的，让妈妈确确实实的感受到了宝宝来了以后，他不应该是可能缺少了爸爸妈妈的，而是增加了同伴的爱、老师的爱和我们大家的爱。1, 2, 3.
For many families, the cost of daycare is a major barrier. Private centers like this one offer highly trained staff, low child-to-caregiver ratios, and customized service. Even cheaper, community-based options require a steady financial commitment. For some, that's simply out of reach. Government policy is trying to close that gap. Since 2019, China has pushed daycare as part of its national population strategy, offering subsidies, easing licensing requirements, and encouraging universal access.
它是国家的一个非常重要的一个人口国策，因为我们的出生人口会影响到经济发展和人口结构，都会带来非常深远的影响。那我们的托育机构把它办好了，能够激发生的欲望，能够解决育的难题，能够减轻养的负担，所以这个是非常重要的。
他怎么长大了呀？
Perhaps there's no perfect way to raise a kid. Studies warn that early separation from primary caregivers can lead to anxiety in very young children. Like many of life's choices, it's a trade-off, and what works best may look different for every family. But for some, having that one more option can make all the difference.
我们当妈妈之前，她首先也得是有一份自己的生活和工作的，对吧？我一定会在我下班之后好好照顾她，在她放学之后来接完她之后，给予最高效的陪伴，陪她玩。其实我觉得已经不错了。
你开不开心？开心。
桃园 Cgtn Chengdu.
For more insights, we're now very pleased to be joined by Professor Guo Yu, Associate Dean at Renmin University of China School of Labor and Human Resources. Welcome to China 24, Professor Guo. From childcare subsidies to inclusive daycare services, China is systematically reducing the cost of raising children. So how effective is this package of policy tools in easing the pressure on young families?
Yes, I think this package is quite substantial. China's current approach marks a significant shift from isolated measures to a comprehensive, systematic strategy. In practice, this policy package is delivering tangible relief. Universal cash transfers, such as 3,600 RMB annual allowance per child, combined with preschool fee waivers and deductions, are truly substantial. They have effectively lowered the out-of-pocket expenses. Recent surveys indicate that these measures have successfully increased policy awareness and slightly boosted fertility intentions, particularly among young married couples.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Professor Guo Yu, Associate Dean at Renmin University of China School of Labor and Human Resources. Thank you very much indeed for your insights. Still to come on China 24. We look at how a railway on the Qinghai-Xizang Plateau has transformed the small county in northern Xizang.
Images may appear to be identical, but looks can be deceiving. The difference is not always obvious. It has to be discovered. There are always different sides to a story. We put the focus on the details. To see more, to understand better. Cgtn. See the difference.
Facing the unknown is always difficult. In a world in turmoil, it's easy to lose orientation. But when the storms come, we have to see the possibilities, reinvent, find new opportunities, discover a path forward. Cgtn. See the difference. Each day, there are millions of stories. Each one can open new perspectives, new possibilities. Wherever you look, we are there to see, discover, explore. We put the pieces together to find what really matters to you, all around the world, all around the clock. Our reporters are at home across the globe. From our headquarters in Beijing and production centers in Washington, Nairobi, and London. Stories from across the globe, reaching people across the globe. Cgtn. See the difference.
A marvel of engineering and a lifeline for communities. Since the Qinghai-Xizang Railway opened in 2006, it has reshaped lives across the plateau. And in this episode of Beyond the Tracks, our reporter Wu Bing travels to Amzhou, the first county the railway enters in Xizang, to see how the trucks are paving the way to a better life.
At 4,702 meters, Andor Railway Station is one of the world's highest railway stations. It's not a big station with just 4 tracks, but for the local people, it's a lifeline. Andor is a small county with just around 40,000 people, and is known as the gateway to the northern part of the Xizang Autonomous Region in southwest China. 20 years ago, before the Qinghai-Xizang Railway opened, it would take a month for locals to go to the capital Lhasa on horseback. The railway, known as the world's highest and longest plateau rail line, stretches from Xining in Qinghai province to Lhasa in the Xizang Autonomous Region. It forever changed people's lives in Andor County, including 74-year-old Gesong. He's one of the first passengers of what has been nicknamed the Sky Road.
Ta me ko ting tang bo de le ge ba sa cha zang na ra ta lo ni gu reng la ta za xin xin na ra chen den de ma so nyar sak xin de bus ta teng a ni tong ya mi ji mi zhou ge yan xin ne men ko zhou de la ne na wei go ba ma dou se ge me gen tong yong me la ne 대비 장그 돈용매리 라니는 돈용매라는 자신 적과 망조 운동랑생 정바대 하장그 세바 제보당 돈랑그 나비한테나 컨션스.
When the railway was first designed, the station was about 7 kilometers from Andor. So to include the region into the overall development of Xizang, designers made a turn in the railway and changed the station to just 1 kilometer from the county. That made Andor the first comprehensive passenger and freight station as the railway enters Xizang. Andor then became a vital link connecting the plateau to the rest of the world and was reshaped entirely. And no one knows these changes better than a son of Gesang.
之前的话，这边就全是空的，现在是这个卫生院呀、什么村委会呀，这些都是反正近几年建的。
38-year-old Gonggang Nolba is born and raised in Andor. He now is the head of a local media center and has a sharp eye for change.
我们现在所在的这个位置是县中心十字路口。当时的话，这个十字路口的现在是两边的这些商铺啊、楼栋啊这些都没有。
Fresh vegetables used to be a luxury on the plateau.
之前的话可以说是在牧区里，天天都吃不到蔬菜、水果。现在的话非常的方便，县城的整个什么超市啊这些都也比较这个丰富了。
The train has also helped to bring the county upgraded medical facilities, a reliable supply of medicines, and more medical stuff. In the past, a heavy cold might be fatal here.
现在的话，村有村医，然后乡镇有卫生院，县里面就现在条件非常的好，这种做手术啊这些条件都有现在。
53-year-old Chuan Jinbo now works at the Andor railway station.
抓紧上车了，抓紧上车了！
Watching passengers come and go every day, Chuan found that the packages people brought with them became smaller.
2010年沈大曲的时候，他们出行的时候呢，带的是帐篷、酥油、干肉，还有这个被褥，堆积的就是跟那个小山一样。现在他们出行呢，他们带的东西呢就很少。
Before Chuan came to Andor, only one person worked in the station. 7 years ago, he came to Andor railway station since it needed more staff due to the significantly increasing passenger flow.
看这边，最高时达到我看有460多人。
Gesang still keeps that first train ticket, a reminder of the moment he first stepped aboard. Gonggang Nolba walks the streets of Andor almost every day, witnessing small but profound changes all around him. And Chuan Jinbo says he will work at the railway station for another 7 years until he retires. The story of Andor is just one of the many stories along the Sky Road. Since the railway opened in 2006, over 1 billion tons of goods have been transported into and out of Xizang via rail. From 2006 to 2025, the annual freight volume increased by 23 times to over 8.31 million tons. It has changed not just one county, but the livelihood of the people living on the entire plateau. Wu Bin, Cgtn, Andor County, Xizang Autonomous Region.
The railway has certainly transformed life in Andor. And in our next episode, we follow a herd of Tibetan antelopes to see how the railway balances economic development with ecological protection. More than 24 journalists from 19 countries have visited Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region in northwest China to gain first-hand insight into its development. Since June 18th, the 28 journalists toured cities including Hotan, Taban, and the regional capital Urumqi. They saw first-hand Xinjiang's progress in economic development, ecological conservation, cultural heritage, and opening up. And on their itinerary was a trip to a 1 gigawatt integrated solar thermal and photovoltaic power project in Turban, and the 9th China Eurasia Expo in Urumqi. The expo, which runs until Monday, has attracted participants from 49 countries, regions, and international organizations, and over 3,000 companies. The journalists shared their impressions of Xinjiang's economic dynamism.
So, as far as the economic vitality is concerned about Xinjiang, it's something that it is buzzing. I mean, there are a lot of economic hustle and bustle going on in Xinjiang because the Xinjiang is not only concentrated on a one trade and a one business and one side of commerce. The Xinjiang business is getting diversified.
I believe all people living in this region of China are enjoying fulfilling and happy lives. Many foreign media outlets still hold stereotyped perceptions of Xinjiang, and some of their information comes from unreliable sources. But I am convinced that anyone who visits Xinjiang will witness the real situation with their own eyes. Every journalist who comes here will gain a renewed understanding, not only of Xinjiang, but of China as a whole.
As the 2026 FIFA World Cup captivates global audiences, Football FIFA is now taking over Shanghai. This week, the city launches its first ever Jiechao, or Street Super League, a tournament with over 200 local amateur teams set to take part. It reflects China's national strategy of focusing on young people and grassroots engagement to develop football in the country. Cgtn's Zhang Siren visits the former national champion at the forefront of this mission, both on the field and online.
This
viral catchphrase won Yang Jiawei millions of followers on social media. But behind the fame is a former professional champion with a new mission.
I retired young at 29. I had won national championships, and my only remaining goal was the national team, which seemed unlikely after an injury. I was lost until a first-person football video online gave me a new direction of sharing technical skills. That initial idea grew into my academy, W11. It's a platform where I can use my professional experience to help young talents and a way to directly contribute to the future of China's football.
That new path now sees him coaching players from all walks of life, from seasoned amateurs to the young footballers of the next generation.
男生占80%，女孩子可能有20%，可能。
For children, 80% are boys and 20% are girls. On the pitch, you now see many players over 40. They grew up with football and have stable careers. Everyone is welcomed. Now that I have a daughter, if she shows passion and talent for the game, I will absolutely encourage her to pursue it.
等位置有了之后，再去控球。 没有机会的时候把球控好，不要轻易失误。
For Yang Jiawei, the academy embodies his philosophy for addressing a core challenge in Chinese football, building a stronger foundation.
我们现在做的也是普及和快乐足球。
For beginners and children, it must be fun. They have to feel the joy of the game. My coaches and I always play right alongside them as support. Today, the country is popularizing football. Grassroots leagues, like Shanghai's newly opened Jiechao, are making it a true national sport. I believe top players are selected, not just trained. You can only find the best when the talent pool is massive. By building a wider base, China is expected to produce more world-class talents.
This belief of building a broader community around the joy of the sport is echoed by academic experts.
The goal is to use high-profile professional sports as a drive to foster a more diverse and grassroots culture within our communities. It's about transforming a spectator event into a platform for community life, integrating entertainment and driving local consumption. That is the bedrock of a sustainable and lasting sports culture.
The future of China's football is being forged by a shared national vision as the nation is building a holistic ecosystem to cultivate youth talent from its very foundation. And it's hoped this long-term dedication will soon resonate on the world stage. Zhang Siren, Cgtn, Shanghai.
That's it for today's edition of China 24. As always, we'll welcome your thoughts and comments. You can reach us at China24@cgtn.com. We leave you now with scenes of the natural beauty of southwest China's Sichuan province. I'm Su Yuting in Beijing. Thank you very much for watching.